taking notes. We're taking how many off the homework?
All right. We're doing coastal environment and hurricanes. You'll find the reading and your homework questions. If you're watching this video first, we're actually going to go through and answer the homework questions. So, boom. Okay. There you go. And you also will have a word find and a couple sheets that you can color. Okay, that's not due, the word find, all that's not due till Friday, so you don't have to worry about trying to do it all. Again, all you're doing today is coastal, because you'll see a whole packet there. We're just doing the coastal environment and the hurricane part of it today. Then we'll do some more tomorrow with some on Wednesday. We should wrap it up by Wednesday. Okay? All right, here we go. No, I'll do it because it's not that much. All right, talking about coastal environment. Look at your questions there, okay? Because now's a good time to answer your questions and quit worried about trying to take notes right this second, because you can use your questions to get your notes, okay? All right, right here. North Carolina is blessed with a variety and attractive coastal environment. Habitats include, if you look at number 1, right there it is. Habitats include ocean, sandy beaches, sand dunes, maritime forests, salt marshes, tidal flats, bays, estuaries, and sounds.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, okay? Now, it doesn't always have all of those, but it can be made up of those things. Okay, it's going to always have ocean, sandy beaches, sand dunes, not always maritime forests, and it will either have like salt marsh, tidal flat, bays, or a sound. Anybody know what an estuary is? What's an estuary? Okay, yeah, that's where the salt water and the fresh water all comes in together.
So,
Yes.
So, when I learn this, we have to write every single one, or
I would.
with a name?
I'd write every one of them down if I was planning on getting it right. Considering I'm giving you the answers, and all you got to do is write. Yes, Mr. West.
There was how my grandparents, when they were building their house, they were living at a place like my Aunt Betty's house, I think. And it was like, there was a house that was so close to the water, their property like ended right where the weeds started.
Yep.
And like there were crocodiles and stuff.
It probably didn't when they built the house.
Yeah, and there were
Erosion probably did that.
there were I'm pretty sure it's an estuary because that's where the salt, like there's the fresh water there where the crocodiles live.
Yep.
And then a couple of miles away, there's the salt water and then.
Yeah.
you meant to say pond for that.
All right. Now, here's the deal. Each component of the coastal environment, from the beach to the sound, plays an essential part of the overall beauty. Each habitat is separate and beautiful in its own right, yet they all work together, okay? And it's very important that they work together. One will help protect the other, okay? So no part actually ever stands alone. They work together beautifully. Be right back.
You want somebody to work?
We already said
No.
good.
No, I got it. All right, now, the richness of the environment as a whole is susceptible to damage from deterioration of even one component. And here is the answer to another question. If marshes are filled, fish and crabs that grow up there will disappear from the ocean. If dunes are leveled to build high rises, then beaches in front of the dunes will eventually be lost. They will erode. Okay? When they talk about filling in a marsh, it was, let's say it's something ironic, such as someone bought the land, because the marsh is not that deep. Okay? A lot of times they're not that deep. Somebody buys it because they want to build a seafood restaurant. So they come in and they fill it in with dirt and all this stuff and get it all packed down, and then they build a restaurant on it. Well, he just killed a breeding ground for what he sells in his restaurant. Okay, because you got flounders, you got crabs, you got all kinds of other little fish and things that comes in about this time of year. Actually, they're probably already in. They come in and they breed and they lay their eggs or give birth, whichever one they do, live birth, lay eggs. And the little babies, if you would, grow up in that marsh because it's a safer area. Okay, the great big fish doesn't usually come in here. Things that would eat them doesn't usually come in. Okay, so they can grow up there, and then fall, they've got some size to them. Then they go to the ocean. But that's like the breeding ground. That's what a marsh is a lot of times.
Wait, so,
Okay.
would one of those seafood restaurants that's built on the stilts, like if they set like the big wooden poles into the ground and built it over, would that hurt it?
No, that wouldn't hurt it as much. It still would mess it up some because you're gonna have people all messing around it all the time. But no, it would not hurt it as bad. When they say fill it in, they're talking actually do away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay? All right. Now, we're into barrier islands. Be back again.
Wait 1 second. Can you hold it?
Yeah, can you hold it for a second?
Yeah, I can. All you gotta do is write one of them. You don't have to write both of them.
Yeah.
I think you just ask for one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it does.
Okay? And again, this is online for you.
Oh, and.
Okay? All right, now we're talking about barrier islands. Okay? A barrier island or islands and peninsulas which parallel most of the North Carolina coast. The islands can be likened to parts of a necklace embracing the body of the mainland. All this right through here is barrier islands, okay? That's what that is. Barrier islands are separated from the mainland by bodies of water that vary in sizes from narrow segments of intercoastal waterways to huge bays and sounds. North Carolina has 23 barrier islands on its coast.
Is that a lot?
23. Yes and no. Some places has a whole lot more than that. But yeah,
Like
23, yeah, it depends on the thing about you gotta think about your coastal area, how big it is. Yes, Julia.
I'm really sorry if you've already answered this question, but do these need to be in complete sentences?
Well,
He answered that before, for sure.
yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on, like right there, 23 would work fine.
And I do have maybe there are 29.
You can, or you can just put 23, because I think the question was asked, how many barrier islands are there? If you just want to put 23, that's okay too.
No,
Okay.
because I literally just wrote
Okay.
the center.
And roll it up again.
1 second.
You got it, 23. Okay, everybody good? Now, this gets pretty good right here. Okay? Now, from ocean side to the backside, the barrier island can be divided into separate zones. Okay? Ocean beach, primary dunes, your secondary dunes, maritime forests, saltwater marshes, and tidal flats. Maritime forest is present only on the wider islands. So not every barrier island has all of these. They all have the ocean, obviously. They all have a beach. They all have primary and secondary dunes. Not all of them will have a maritime forest. Only the bigger islands, the wider islands, are going to have a maritime forest. Some will have a salt marsh. Some will have tidal flats. Some will have estuaries where it all comes together, usually a river or something that's coming by. But most of them will have a sound. okay, which is just a body of water that goes between the mainland and the island, and then you got the island, and then on the other side of the island is the ocean. Okay, that's what you have if you go out to the Outer Banks. Okay, you'll come through like Manio. If you go to Nags Head, you got the town of Manio, which is on the mainland, and it looks out over a sound and the barrier islands. And you take that big bridge, you go out to that barrier island, which is Nags Head, okay, and Kildello Hills and all those little towns are out there. That's the barrier island. Okay, so on one side you got the sound, on the other side you got the ocean. Okay, so the barrier island sits there to help protect the mainland from storms. Okay, yes.
I know you already said this, but did you say we didn't have to do words to know, or did you?
No, you do have to do words.
Oh, so for that, do we just put the definition?
You just put down what, yeah, just put down the definition of what a barrier island is. Yes.
This and some can I just
Yeah. No, write it down. Don't be lazy. Write it down. I know, you would think you could, but no. All right, now.
Wait.
Now then, barrier islands are fully exposed to the ocean. Okay? They experience the brunt of normal winds, tides, and waves, as well as the full theory of sporadic coastal storms and hurricanes. As such, guess what? They serve as a buffer between the ocean and the mainland, thus the name Barrier Island. Okay? That's what a barrier island is. They serve as a buffer between the ocean and the mainland. Okay? That's what they are. Hence barrier island. Okay? These everyday and storm forces of nature keeps barrier islands in a constant state of flux. The island erodes in one area, and if it's eroding in one area, it's building up in another area. Okay, it's really cool. Barrier islands continuously absorb the blows and the fury of nature and then bounce back. And this cycle of damage and repair is thousands of years old. Net damage is actually nil when the island is left and let nature do its thing. Okay? It's when man goes out and paves over it and builds big hotels and homes and things like that, that it can't always repair itself. Okay? But if man leaves it alone, that barrier island will it will erode, but it will build back up over time.
Is that why
It heals itself.
Is that why some islands are big and the others are
Yep,
smaller?
it is.
Hey, good question.
Yes.
Can you go back to the number 4?
I am not going back. It is online for you to go find. Okay, I'm taking my time and going through this, guys.
You said we colored these?
Uh-huh.
What did you say about these?
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay.
Okay, let's take a look at hurricanes. Leo, you can get with someone. Or I will try to answer the question for you if you want to ask. What are you looking for?
Number 4.
I don't know what number 4 is. So
I think it's barrier islands are separated from mainland by
Bodies of water.
Bodies of water. Yeah, bodies of water. You also got to, if you'll listen to me when I'm talking, okay, you will hear. I said that. Okay.
Well,
Bodies.
also think about what else.
Okay. Well, you guys freak out. You're like, oh my gosh, I've never done this before. Let me freak completely out. Just stay calm. I've told you before, the people that freaks out are the people that don't survive.
Yeah.
Keep your head about you. This is not life and death. You're just jotting down answers as we go through it. Okay? The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to miss one. That's okay. It's okay to miss a question on homework. It really is. And it's okay to ask you, doing it the way we're doing it. It's okay for Leo, who missed one, it was okay that he looked at Brady and said, hey, did you get number 4? I mean, we're giving you the answer, so you're not cheating, you know. That's not cheating if we're working together to answer them anyhow, right? Okay. All right. Hurricanes. I believe this is the first one right here. Hurricanes are large, violent tropical storms with winds of 75 miles an hour or greater. And this might be number 2. The winds rotate in a circular counterclockwise motion around the center of low pressure.
You can look up there and read it.
You can. Thank you. Okay? So it goes counterclockwise. It's not until it hits 75 miles an hour that it is declared a hurricane. So you might have constant winds hitting you at 70 miles an hour. That's just a really big storm. It's not considered a hurricane. Okay, 75 miles an hour is considered a Category 1, which is a pretty small hurricane. Still do damage.
What's
I
the worst
understand.
hurricane that's ever been?
5.
Where was it?
I believe it hit Florida. I think a 5 hit Florida. What was Katrina? Was Katrina a 5 or a 4?
4, I think.
Yeah, it hit New Orleans, but you saw the damage that a 4 can do, so you can imagine what 5 would do.
For number 2, there's 2 parts to it, or is it just counterclockwise?
It's counterclockwise.
Oh, because there's a comma, I was wondering if there's 2 parts.
Well, I think it says the winds rotate in a circular, comma, counterclockwise.
Oh, I just put
But
counterclockwise.
this for science work.
Yes.
Technically, it was so violent there because of all the water they had around it.
Well, that's, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
like,
that's what, and if hold on a minute, that's what we're gonna talk about, actually, the storm surges and all. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Okay? The winds with a force to be reckoned with are not the major threat from a hurricane. Okay, everybody thinks it's the wind. It's not the wind. It's what Mr. West was just talking about. Rather, the main danger stems from storm surges caused by the winds. Okay? Now, my father-in-law and mother-in-law, when they were still alive, they lived at Nag's Head, right on the Sound.
oh my.
Now, I'm talking their house ended here. They had a little backyard, had the seawall, had a little bit of the beach, and then the Sound. You could walk out in that Sound. Okay? Because when my boys were little, that's where we played. Instead of going to the ocean, we played in the Sound because no one was there.
Played in the what?
The Sound. Okay? It's a body of water between the mainland and the barrier island. Okay. We went out, you could go out 100 yards and the water would be waist deep.
Yeah, it's not deep.
Okay? And then, well, it starts to drop off later.
Yeah.
It gets fairly deep, but not like deep, you know, it doesn't go like 400 or 500 feet deep or something. But you couldn't walk all the way across it without going under. But you could go out and play and get up about waist deep. Okay? Hurricane coming. My in-laws feel safe. They have all the window coverings that comes down and covers their windows and their glass doors and all this stuff. So, and you know, they're thinking it's going to hit the beach side, so they're not real worried about it. So, you know, it's one of those, this is my home, I'm not leaving type of deal, because they're a little bit younger at this point in time. But the thing hits and it comes up the Sound, which means it's bringing water from the ocean with it. So this water that is this deep, 100 yards out,
Yeah, this deep.
is suddenly breaking, the waves are breaking over the top of their house. Okay? This is when they start to think, maybe we made a bad decision. Okay.
Is that
So, my father-in-law because he has the electronic things that comes down and protects the window. So he lifts one up a little bit, flips on the floodlights, just in time to watch his seawall, got that thick, part of it break in half and get lifted up and twirled around.
In front of him.
Fortunately, it went out into the sound. Had it come towards the house, it would have come right through the house. Okay? But fortunately, it went the other way. That was the last hurricane. When you mentioned hurricane was going to hit the Outer Banks or even come near the Outer Banks, they were at my house 3 days before the event was going to occur. And I don't blame them at all, to be honest with you. I would have too. Anyhow, but most of the damage comes from the storm surge caused by the wind. Strong storm surge is the rise in ocean level, the sea level, okay, above normal. Okay, and it may reach anywhere, I believe this says 15 to 25 feet above normal water level. Okay, that's pretty deep. The storm surge, along with the storm waves, battles the coast with awesome force. In fact, when we went back, when we went out to see them the next weekend to see if we could help clean up, his backyard was here. His house was here, and it just dropped off. It had just taken all of his backyard out. The seawall was gone. Sea snakes everywhere.
Really?
Trees everywhere. I mean, it was a mess and a half.
They look like
Okay.
Just like sitting in your house.
like
just
water
have,
moccasins.
waiting
Like
for sea
what
snakes.
kind of
Yeah,
snakes?
yeah.
Water
You know how many
moccasins.
sea snakes are?
My mom would be out.
Most of this tremendous pounding is absorbed by the first 100 yards landward from the ocean, okay? Thus, oceanfront buildings and structures suffers the most damage in a hurricane. Although sound side flooding can be extensive and damaging as well, okay? Okay, again, just answering the questions and the word to know on coastal environment and hurricanes. You're gonna have a little word find, and 2 little pictures that you can color. They're not due till Friday. Homework's due each day, the next day, obviously. There's gonna be a short film clip on a hurricane, how they work. And then I'm giving you one just for a fun one. It's a cloud avalanche. It's really quite amazing. I think you would enjoy it also. Okay, and that's about it. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.